Hello guys, good day. So earlier this week I had mentioned that I was going to show us how to activate the sensitivity label for groups and sites. That's for Office 365 groups and sites. So basically, by default, once you set up a tenant, a Microsoft 365 tenant, what happens basically is upon completion of that tenant setup, the option for the groups and sites when trying to configure sensitivity label to be applied on groups and sites, that option will be grayed out. So let us just confirm. So this is a new tenant that I have. Okay, then I'm going to just check. Let us confirm so we can see it. So I'm going to show us how we can actually set up the sensitivity label for groups and sites. So when you click on compliance from your Microsoft Admin Center, you scroll down, you click on information protection. Then under information protection, you click on labels. So under labels, you can now click on create label. So when you click on create label, I'll just call it tests. Don't worry, this is not what we're not going to apply it yet. So I'm just trying to show us something. So just test. So when you click on next, you would see, so there it is, groups and sites. You can see that it's grayed out, right? So, but basically, before you can actually do this, you need to have to look at different Microsoft articles. Okay, you need to look at different Microsoft articles that will enable you to actually complete this very process. Okay, it's quite very easy and self-explanatory, okay, so to say. So now let us just have a look at the article. You can see use sensitivity labels to protect contents, Microsoft Teams, groups, and SharePoint sites. You can see how it looks like once you finish activating or enabling the feature, and then you've configured it for groups and sites. You would see the option here, sensitivity for all employees, and that's how it looks like. So for how to configure, this is it, and this is how it should look like. If you just oppose it to what we have here, you would see this is grayed out, while here this is for groups and sites, and then the other options. So to enable this, you will need to run different PowerShell commands. So let me just show us something before we even proceed. So I have another tenant that I use. Now let me show us how it looks like when it is grayed out. Okay, we'll still come back to the other one. So if you come to show all, and then you go to compliance under your Microsoft Admin Center, and then you click on information protection, click on labels. Now click on create label. So this is another tenant that I have, tests. So I will show us test. Now click on next. Can you see? So this, I've already activated this for these tenants. All right, so this is pretty easy if you want to actually activate this. So groups and sites, right? And then let me come back to the other tenants. You see this is grayed out. So now we are going to have to carry out these different PowerShell commands to be able to set up the sensitivity label for groups and sites very well. Okay, so before we proceed, you can just open a new tab and type your SharePoint management shell. So that's a more like a PowerShell container for SharePoint. So SharePoint management shell. So once you type accept all, click on the first one. Now you click on download. So once you click on download, you will download it, and then you click on the file itself after it's done downloading to install. All right, so when you are done installing the PowerShell command, please search for it here. Just type SharePoint on your Windows search, right click, and then you click run as administrator. Okay, you click run as administrator. So when you click on run as administrator, you are going to bring up the PowerShell container. Now, there are certain scripts that you would have to execute first before we can even proceed. So before we can complete the setup of this particular process, we need to understand that there are certain modules for people who are just installing this PowerShell command for the first time. So there are certain modules that you would have to actually install so as to enable you to complete the the custom scripts that we are going to be using for this particular scenario or for this process. So the first script we are going to run here is the set execution policy, right? So when you click on sets, when you copy, this is the script. Don't worry, I'm going to also share the script with us in a Word document so we can see those scripts one by one. Okay, so it's going to be like a step. When you do this, you do the next one, you do the next one. So it's pretty easy. I've already broken it down, and then I've already done it, and I can ascertain that this is the correct step to allow you to, that will enable you to activate this very feature. Okay, so once you've copied this, the set execution policy, you click on A means yes to all. Now that has been completed, and then the next thing you have to do is to install the SharePoint module. For those who are just setting up the that just downloaded the SharePoint management shell, you have to install the module. So once you type install module Microsoft.Online.SharePoint, click on PowerShell. So it's going to install the module. So we'll have to give it some time. All right, I'll just pause the video and then I will come back once it's done installing. Okay, so it's installed, and then you see warning version this of module is already installed. There is this day to install version 16.230. So it's trying to let us know that this module is the recent module, or the update. Sorry, this update is a recent update for the module we want to install. However, if you are making use of the old update and you would like to force this module to install the latest update for you, so just click on the next PowerShell on the next line here where you have here, and then click on your arrow up on your keyboard, type space hyphen force. So once you click on force, it automatically force the update to be installed for this very module. Okay, so this has been completed. So the next thing we are going to install is the Azure AD, the Azure Active Directory module. So these are the modules that we'll have to put into consideration when carrying out this particular setups. Okay, so this is done. So the next thing we are going to install is the MSOnline module. So this has been completed. So now what we'll do, we'll have to connect to the SharePoint management shell CMD-lets. Okay, the SharePoint admin center, sorry. So connect-SPO service, okay, click enter. It's now requesting for the URL of your SharePoint tenant. So come here, click on SharePoint. All right, so we just copy this URL. Oh, sorry. So just come here, copy this URL, and then paste it here. Click enter. It's going to prompt you to pick the account that you are using. So this is the account that I'm working with. Let me see the account. Okay, it's not here. So I'm just going to type use another account, and I'm going to put in my name. Okay, just a moment. Let me just verify. Kingsley at. Okay, great. So just gonna put in my name here at we have the T5 HT5 dot on Microsoft.com. Okay, let me just verify that. Microsoft.com, correct. It's gonna request for password. I'll just go get my password. Just give me a moment. The password, okay. All right, great. So that is it. And then good. I have. How do I know that this particular sign-in has been authenticated? So I'll just type get SPU sites. So it's now going to give me a list of all my sites that I have on this tenant. That's the way I can actually know that this has been I've successfully signed into my SharePoint tenant. So after this, the next thing that we are going to do now is to install the Azure Active Directory Preview. Okay, so click on install. I'm going to share as a PowerShell the article that's points out this very scenario that we are trying to carry out. Okay, so it's already contained in the article. All I just did was to just pick out all the PowerShell commands and then place them accordingly. That's so as to enable us to know that after this we'll do this, after that we'll do this. Okay, so it's just very easy. So install PowerShell, install module Azure AD Preview, and after then you then run this. For example, just the same way I had earlier explained for that of the Microsoft, that of the PowerShell module, the SharePoint Online module. So in most cases, when you have an outdated when you have an outdated module for the Azure AD Preview, you can always carry out a force module installation. Okay, so it will just install it forcefully. So after that, the next command we are going to run is still going. We'll just give it some time. It's still, so I'll just pause it. Once it's done, I will come back again. All right, so this has been completed. So I'll just run the next PowerShell command. Okay, so the next PowerShell command I will be running will be to install the module for the Azure AD Premium to allow the AllowClobber. Okay, so just install it. This is successful, and then the next thing we're now going to do, we are going to have to import the Azure AD Preview module. Okay, so this is successful, and then the next thing we are going to do is to now connect, because it's important. You have to connect to Azure Active Directory now. Okay, so I'm just going to connect Kingsley at T5 ht5 dot on microsoft.com. Okay, so it's requesting for password. I'm going to provide the password. There it is. Okay, great, good. Can you see? So it has authenticated that, oh, this account is active, and this account has an elevated admin rights. So most likely this is my global admin account on this tenant. All right, so this is my account name, and this is the environment, and this is the correlation IDs, and this is the domain of the tenant, and this is the account type. It validates that I am a user on this very tenant. So after which we are going to carry out another PowerShell command. All right, so I'm just going to copy it and then paste it and then press enter. I have to allow it. So this is successful, and then after which we are now going to run another one. This is going to get the Azure Active Directory Settings template, and this is it. So it's now going to show you, this is the unified guest, the application, the password rule settings, and then so these are the different parameters, okay, that's under the group configuration for the Azure AD. All right, so you just have to understand this very well. So after which we're now going to run another command. Okay, the next command we are going to run, and this is it. We're now going to run another one, after which run another one. So there are lots of commands that you'd have to run before these settings can be activated. So when I say you're going to run another one, we'll keep running these commands until we've completed the cycle. So this is the next one. We've done that. We're going to run another one. We're going to run another one. So this is the next command we are going to run, and after which we are now going to enable the MIP label and set it to true. Okay, so the MIP label is that label that actually validates the group settings, that allows you to actually verify or validate that group setting between the groups and the SharePoint side. So when enabling the settings, you are trying to more like send an instruction to please activate this very parameter or configuration. Okay, so after which we are going to now run another PowerShell command, which is the new Azure AD directory settings. We're trying to tell it to create a new correlation ID with a different template name, so it can actually validate what you had earlier activated for the MIP settings, for the MIP label, sorry. And then you're now going to check the settings value. Let us check the settings value. Okay, so the settings value, look at the MIP label, is set to true. Okay, so this has been set to true. So after which we're now going to run another command again. So this is the other command that we're going to run. Don't worry, I'm going to still share us all these commands step by step. Okay, so there it is, and after which you will now have to set the Azure AD parameter. So look at it, MIP label is false, so we're now going to activate it again after running that other command, and then we're going to check back to these settings, and then the MIP labels are true, it's set to true, and then we are going to now run last command. Yes, so these are the commands that you would need to run to actually allow or to actually activate this very policy on for setting sensitivity level on groups and sites. So that's done. So let us just verify and confirm that here everything is fine. So you'd have to refresh, and then you come to settings, click on compliance. So just gonna check information protection, labels, create label, call this tests, click on nests. Can you see it's activated groups and sites? So I'm not gonna I wouldn't want to extend this video towards trying to now show us how to now configure the sensitivity label for groups and site. That will be a subsequent videos, okay, and that I'm going to provide. So for the now, we just make deal with this, and then in our next video we may most likely be talking about how to configure the groups and sites for sensitivity labels proper. All right, thank you very much, and that's all I have for you, and I look forward to speaking with you again. Bye. Cheers.